What I do is inconsequential. Why I do what I do is I get to shorten people's journeys every day. What I love about our hospitality industry is that it's our mission to make people feel cared for while on their journeys. Together, we'll explore what hospitality means in the built environment, in business, and in our daily lives. I'm Dan Ryan, and this is Defining Hospitality. This podcast is sponsored by Berman Falk Hospitality Group, a design-driven furniture manufacturer who specializes in custom case goods and seating for hotel guest rooms. Today's guest is someone who dedicates his work to providing safe housing and education to those who need it. He is strongly committed to fulfilling his company's mission statement by managing, supervising, and directing three work areas: healthcare, education, and housing. He is the co-founder of Asociacion de Casas a Hogares, or Houses to Homes, in Antigua, Guatemala. Ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Mejia. Welcome, Oscar.
Thank you, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
It's the first time I've doing something like this, but thank you for letting me do this
Really?
with you.
Okay, well, I love first times because for the experience that my family had with you, it was the first time that I'd actually built a house from start to finish. Um, and I just want to let all the listeners know, 2 summers ago, my wife Alexa and my daughter Vivian went down to Guatemala, and Alexa did all this research and found from houses to homes. Stayed in you stay She stayed in a hotel, or they stayed in a hotel in Antigua, which is a beautiful colonial Spanish colonial city that is just like so rich in history and in a beautiful setting on the banks of a volcano. And I think they just celebrated last summer their 500th anniversary. Anyway, the two of them went down and partnered with another family, or met up with another family, and built a house like from start to finish. They said it was really hard work, but they felt very, I don't know, enriched, and like it felt like they really made a difference in a small way. So then last summer, Alex and Vivian were like, let's just get the whole family to go down. And we went down with another family friend of ours from the town next to us, the Dotsons. And it was really amazing. Like, they built one house and we built another house next to them for two families that were living up in the hills in this really beautiful kind of agricultural area, um, up the hill from Antigua. And it was just such an incredible experience for us to get down there, work hard, and then hand the keys over to these families that were living in like a really tight, not great conditions, open flame, cooking kitchen, smoke everywhere. Um, and I don't know, it's just like a really powerful experience. And I think at the crux of it is hospitality, right? And shelter and like those basic human needs. Um, so before we get into your experience and why you're so passionate about this, Oscar, um, I would just like to ask you, how do you define hospitality? What does hospitality mean to you?
Well, for me, it's something that we can be able to provide any kind of help to anyone in need. But I could say something like that.
Okay. And I think that the way that you've structured your life and the organizations that you're involved in, so not only is it just building a house, um, but we also, you took us to a school, and I want to talk about those three pillars of housing, healthcare, and education. Um, how did you become so passionate about these three things, and how, like, what led you to the path that you're on now with houses to homes?
Well, I want to let you know that I never had a father. My father died some days before I was born, about 4 days before I was born. So my paternal uh, grandparents, they throw out my mother from where she was living because they say, "Well, your husband is not here anymore, and you have to get out of here." And well, at that time, my mother, she didn't have where to go. I'm glad that there were some good people around, and they offered where to live with them while we could solve the situation. And my mother didn't have a bed, a house, nothing, and we were sleeping in the floor, and it was very hard. At that time, we were only two siblings, and for my mother, it was a very difficult beginning again, with the two of us. And she decided to move to Guatemala City. And while we were starting to live there, unfortunately, my mother, she made a mistake and she had two more babies after 4 years. And we were poor at that time, and my mother was a single mother, trying to find ways to survive along with the four of us because these two men didn't want to help her in any way. When I was about 6 years old, there was a person who became to be oh, he wanted to come to live with us, and well, he was our stepfather, and well, at the beginning, he was okay, but through the time, through the years, he started to drink so much. He was forcing us to sell in the streets. He was not interested in educating us. And when I was about 8 years old, on average of that, I decided to run away from home. And the reason is because I didn't like the way the type of life we were getting from this guy. So I decided to looking for my maternal grandparents, and I explained the reasons I did that. So they were helping me at some point. They were poor people also, and it was very difficult for them to help me.
Mm.
Um, but after a couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years, my grandmother, she decided to start looking for something else that I could could help me in some way. So she found an orphanage in a town that is close to Antigua, Guatemala, where we are located. And she decided to send me there. Um, well, I was happy with that decision because when I arrived to that place, we were only maybe 30 kids. This was an organization based in New York who decided to start all of this for many people in Guatemala too. So I started living in that orphanage when I was about 11 years old,
Mm.
and I took advantage of the opportunity. They educated me really, really well, and I took advantage of that opportunity.
I want to just share because I know this summer when we were together, and I was talking to you about I had such a we had such a profound experience that I just wanted to get you on here so that you could talk about your life experience and kind of how you came to be involved and lead houses to homes. Um, but one of the things that struck me was about the orphanage. You said something like getting into that orphanage was the best part of your childhood.
And you are right, and you can remember really well because that was the best part of my childhood for sure. I really enjoyed everything there, and I took advantage of the opportunity. And it was funny because we were hundreds of kids after some years there, maybe 400 kids.
So it went from 30 kids to 400 kids while you were there? Oh, wow.
How about that? Yes, we were so many kids, and through the years, we were taking advantage, studying, and
I wanted to go into, like, this idea of, because to me, hospitality also is something about this idea of warmth and home and, like, a hearth or a fire, like a fire, right? There's some kind of feeling of home. To go into your idea of hospitality, really providing shelter and helping others, I think that's what you said. Um, I think that that experience of being on the streets to having an incredible fond memory of an orphanage, like, I don't know many people that have grown up in orphanages, and I think of all the stories I've heard of people that lived in orphanages, most of them were very bad experiences. So, if you think about being on the streets and getting into the orphanage and having that be a positive experience, what kind of was that like your first experience of receiving hospitality and being welcomed into the orphanage? Like, what I wanna dig into that, like, what was that feeling or the switch from being on the streets to being in the orphanage? And how did that what was that feeling, and how have you taken that feeling forward in your life?
Well, no doubt about that. I felt having a good hospitality in that place for sure, because where I was coming from, it was, very different. And, I didn't have any opportunities with this stepfather that I was having. And, I never regretted about doing this, because I, I, I had some kind of feelings that I was going to be much better there for sure.
Mm. Was it just being in a clean, well-lit, warm place, or was it the people that cared for you, or was it all of it? Like, how did you feel in that initial first couple of months going from the streets into the orphanage?
Oh my gosh, I just didn't feel anything different. I mean, in the way that being in there,
Mhm.
I was just happy, since the beginning, because
Wow.
uh, I just had some feelings that I was going to be much better there for sure.
Mm. Okay, so now this idea of like a house is a structure, it's shelter, it's basic, but a home or hogare is something different, right? So, how did you guys come up with the name from houses to homes? And what is the difference in those two different words to you?
Well, it's because the type of people we help, uh, you know, they have some very simple houses. The structure of the houses where they live, very simple. And when we are offering something better, we can see the difference of they have before
Mm,
and what they are going to have in a few days. So that is one of the reasons we came with the idea of the name. Uh, in this case, I can say that Joe Collins, the founder of the project, he was with the idea of the name together with his son. So when Joe invited me to join him in this, I I like to say sometimes like adventure in life. Um, when he told me about that, I said, "Well, I like the name. I like the logo we have, and uh, the logo has to do something with the name also."
mm. So Joe Collins, if I remember correctly, he passed away a few years ago, but he was from New Jersey, correct?
Yes,
And
correct.
he came down to Guatemala. What led him to found Houses to Homes?
I met Joe Collins in my previous job. That was another charity, and the reason Joe was he came to Guatemala, it's because he had a son. Uh, his name is Darren Collins, and this guy he was volunteering and working in the north of Guatemala. And when he was doing all of that, and he was telling Joe the stories about the poverty in Guatemala. And at that time, Joe couldn't believe what he was hearing from Daron, and he decided to visit him in Guatemala. He wanted to witness what he was hearing about the poverty. So when he decided to do it, well, he didn't have any doubts about that. And when he saw many things about how the people were living, the conditions where they were living, he didn't have any doubts about that. And after that, he came back to New Jersey and he started looking for a place where he could start volunteering. And he found this other organization where I was working for. And when he started, he was coming for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And he really liked everything about what he was doing for the people here.
Mm,
And, after a few years, 3 years, 4 years, we became to be good friends. And that's the reason he was coming to Guatemala. And uh, the reason he founded from Houses to Homes, it's because in the other organization, he didn't like the way they were helping the people. You know, the way they were getting donations to help the people. They were not just properly, to help the people.
Mm,
So he started telling his friends about this, and he told them that he wanted to start his own organization, but he was not pretty sure about that because he didn't have any experience and he didn't have any money, to start something like that. But there were some people encouraging him, and he decided to form Pro something in New Jersey in 2004. When that happened, he told me about that, and he asked me if I wanted to work with him and join him, and I said yes right away because I wanted to do something different too.
mm. Um, I like the idea. I want to dig into that word appropriately, um, particularly with how your nonprofit works, because we surveyed. When I say we, it wasn't me. It was my wife is the researcher, Alexa. She looks at everything. But there are a lot of organizations out there where you can have similar experiences around the world or even in the US. So not to be limited. Um, you're not limited in anywhere you can do it. All of these organizations exist. But what's one of the things that led us to you is I forget what the exact donation was. I think it was about $3,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And for $3,000, we write we wrote a check to From Houses to Homes. We go down there, we paid for our own hotel, but at the end of that, we build a freaking house for someone. And some of these other organizations are a lot more expensive. And I don't want to like belittle what they do because I think they're all doing good, but it just seemed to me that to build a house and then have also a part of that donation also go to fund a school and also healthcare. And I assume of that $3,000, a smaller percentage of that is going to the operations of the nonprofit as well. But it just seemed like such a tremendous um, impact that a $3,000 could could have. So going back to that idea of appropriate, what makes From Houses to Homes different or special for people who want to make an impact?
I think one of the most important thing is the way we like to do everything down here. Improving the living conditions of the people. It's the main goal for us, for sure. And when we started all of this in 2005 here in Guatemala, we just wanted to, build a simple house for a poor family. And we never thought that we were going to do this for many years. Joe told me that probably uh, we were going to do that only for a couple of years, only or 3 years, according of what we could get from generous people. Um, so when we started with the first houses, he was telling the stories about what we started, and he was telling his friends. And at that time, we were asking $1,500 per house because that was the very beginning. And when the people were saying only 1,500, well, I would like to donate for a house, And at the beginning, we were just getting the money, but at the same time, Joe was doing a really good job. He invited some people to come to Guatemala to see how this could be. And when the people started coming to Guatemala, they didn't have any doubts about helping us in different ways.
Mm,
Um, I think for us at the beginning, the key it was having the volunteers with us because it's not the same when you tell the stories about many things we do here in US or other countries. But if they decided to donate some money, probably in some cases, people will not, they're not going to be totally sure about what, if we are going to use the money. But when they are coming down here, it's really, really different because they can see where their money is going to. And I think that is one of the um, ways to help. success for us, when
Yeah.
people come and they can see the difference.
And just to let the listeners know, it was and for the architects and designers and the contractors and people building things that listen to the show, it was really so well organized. So basically, we get down there, we get up to the job site. All the materials are already there. So it's all concrete masonry units or cinder blocks. Um, they're all there. All the rebar is there. The roofing material is there, just all around. And the trench for the foundation was dug, and I think the rebar was in there. I don't remember, but the trench was dug, and then we just get there and we just start mixing concrete, which was really fun, and then pouring it into the footing, um, and then putting rebar in, and then building up with CMUs. And each house, I guess, has we had 2 masons with us. So my family, we would lay the CMUs or the cinder blocks, and then thank God the masons were there because they would do all the corners and all the hard stuff that had to be level and which is like the real skill. Um, and it was a really cool experience and just a lot of lifting, and the family is right there the whole time helping out. Um, I just found it very organized, and I felt like the donation that we made to From Houses to Homes, I think a large percent of that went to all that materials and just getting it there, and then, our work to get it, and also to go to the school. So tell us a little bit about the school as well, because one question I have, Oscar, is okay, you were orphaned, you were in an orphanage, now you're on this path and you're making an impact to, thousands of people. When I went to that school and saw all the kids with the smiling faces and just the joy, and we sponsored Marjorie. I hope she's well, so please tell her I say hello. Um, there's so much poverty in Guatemala, Central America, South America. You're making a difference for a small group. How do you not want to help everyone? Like, I know that you're like, there's constraints, there's only so much you can do, but how do you balance that um, kind of struggle or conflict that there's so much out there and you're making a small difference, but it is an important difference?
Well, since the beginning, we knew that we were going to do this as much as we could. Um, of course, that if we could have more money, more funds, I am sure that we could be doing more and more for sure.
Mm,
But we are doing what we can, what we have now, and what we have had through the years, and what we are getting every time, every year. And I think what we like to do is, try to make sure that the people can have something better for living. But regarding education, since we started in 2005, we decided not just helping to build houses, but we also decided to help those families uh, every year.
mm,
At the beginning of the school year, we were providing some school supplies to those families, buying uniforms, shoes. Most of them, well, I think most of them or all of them are going to public schools. So it's cheaper in some way, but at the beginning, it's a little expensive for them. So that was the reason we were helping them. We were doing that for some years until we gave up because after so many houses, we could not help all of those families regarding sending them to schools. But in 2007, I told Joe that uh, I knew of a community. The name of this community is Santa Maria de Jesus, and I told him that there were many people in need of education in there, especially little kids, the ones who needs to go to preschool grades, because it's very common for many families that they are sending their children onto first grade. But that is a big problem sometimes for some schools and for the teachers, trying to teach for the first time to a kid, with everything. So I told Joe that I wanted to start helping preschool grades kids. and we started with 5 years old kids. So we created a little school. We rented a small house that was not really appropriate for a school, but we were there. And we were doing that for 2 years. And the idea was preparing them to go to first grade at any school. But after those 2 years, I asked Joe, what about if we can help these kids and we can uh, send them to or we can create a school where we could keep having them with us grade by grade. So we started with first grade and then second grade. You know, we were advancing by grades through the years until we had our first sixth graders. That was a big achievement for us for sure. And you know, through all those years, you know, Joe was working very hard. You know, getting donations and telling many people that he wanted to build a school. And when he told me his idea, I was, well, that is really good, you know. But I thought that we were going to build a school. But when he told me his idea, I was like, wow, you know, I couldn't believe it. And
It's a big school, very like, when I after actually building those houses and, um, mixing all the concrete and, like, learning how to build with concrete, 'cause I know I've seen it, but I've never actually done it with my hands, and to think about all the forms and just how you built that school is a whole other ballgame, but
I can say that it's a unique building in Santa Maria de Jesus, you know. And through the years, we have been educating an average of 190 kids every year, you know, since many years. And since we had the opening of this school in 2013, we have been, you know, improving in many ways, educating the people there.
mm.
And one of the reasons is because the experience I had at the orphanage, you know, my idea is, you know, trying to give an opportunity to anyone in the way that they can understand what they have with us. Sometimes we have success with some kids; they are doing really well. Some other times, you know, it's it doesn't work really well. But the good thing is that we keep working for the community and. At that time, when we created that school, we were thinking about helping kids only until sixth grade. But after that, I decided to keep helping them until ninth grade. And then after that, we didn't want to give up, and we continued helping them in high school level. Some of them graduated from different careers. And I want to let you know that in Guatemala, in high school level, it's when the kids can choose to have a career, like a secretary, an accountant, and some other careers they can have. And then after that, they can choose to go to a university. But you know, having that level of education in Guatemala, it helps a lot, you know, to get a better job.
Mm.
So for the kids we helped already, it's really nice to know that some of them have good working, and they are the first ones in their families, you know, at that type of level of education.
Hey, everybody. We've been doing this podcast for over 3 years now. And one of the themes that consistently comes up is sustainability. And I'm just really proud to announce that our sponsor, Berman Falk Hospitality Group, is the first within our hospitality industry to switch to sustainable and recyclable packaging, eliminating the use of styrofoam. Please check out their impact page in the show notes for more info. Um, just to get our listeners' head around how the scale of the impact that this organization that Joe Collins founded and now that you're leading, how many children have made it through the school, and how many homes have you built?
Well, regarding education, an average of 30 kids have been graduated, and that is something that we feel so happy about because it is just amazing that we have had the opportunity, you know, sending them onto that type of level. And regarding the number of houses we have been building through the years, it has been 2,069 houses until the end of this year. And
Wow.
it's just amazing what we have uh, built in so many years, how many houses, the same number of families for sure. And we have been helping in about 58 different communities around Antigua and a little far from Antigua, Guatemala.
And then every year there's 190 kids in the school, correct?
Correct.
From kindergarten or preschool through high school?
From kindergarten until ninth grade.
Okay, I'm sorry, kindergarten to ninth grade, great. Okay. And
Yes.
then, you mentioned the 3 things. So there's education, housing, and then how are you making a difference with healthcare?
In 2009, um, we had some benefactors of us that were supporting us in different ways. So we told them about maybe finding a way to help the people with healthcare. So they we told some people, and one of them helped us to buy a piece of land. And after that, we told another benefactor to help us, to build it.
Mm,
So we built that medical clinic in 2010, and we started the operation of this clinic in 2011. Uh, we were helping in that clinic uh, with general practitioner, dental services,
mhm.
and with gynecologists also. And the idea was, supporting all of those families that were getting houses from us.
Wow.
Everything we provide to the people is totally free. The houses, the healthcare, education, totally free for the people. They don't have to pay back nothing to us.
And then as far as on the medical side, um, how many members of your community or the communities that you're involved in go through the medical clinic on an annual basis?
We were attending an average of 300 kids or 300 patients every month.
Wow.
Um, that was the average of the people coming to the clinic, and it was very hard for us, getting all donations to have the medical clinic, and unfortunately, the pandemic, affected us a lot with our finances, and we decided to, give the medical clinic to another organization, and they are the ones running the organization now. But 10 years, we were providing care to many families in different ways, and sometimes we were getting donations of medicine with some people, and uh, you know, but it was a little hard. That part of the organization, it was a little hard.
Mm.
Getting enough, to support everything we needed there.
So in essence, you built this clinic, it got really difficult and difficult to fund. So you stuck to kind of what you were already doing best, which was providing housing and education. And then, okay, let's keep this clinic going, but give it to someone who specializes in it. Is it still free to all the people that go through the clinic?
And still, we made a deal with them. We decided to give it to them, but we asked them to keep helping the same people we were helping through the years.
One other thing that was really interesting is when we were down there, it was my family, our friend's family. There were a couple other families that were down as well. Um, from Denmark was one of the groups. How, globally, where are all of your families coming from or groups coming down where they're coming down to build the houses? Where are they from globally mostly?
Well, in the first years, we were having volunteers from different countries: Germany, Denmark, England, uh, but the U.S. also, in Canada. Uh, and one of the reasons we were having volunteers from different countries, it's because many of them were coming to study Spanish to Antigua, Guatemala.
Oh.
So while they were here, they were looking for something else to do, and that was the reason they were choosing to volunteer with us. Through the years, that was changing, and most of the people are coming from US,
Mm,
and that that is that is what is happening in the last years. Most of the people coming from US and from Canada now, and in the last years, we have had some people coming from Denmark,
yeah.
and a couple of months ago, we had a group from England too. So what we are trying to do is, to ask them to help us to spread the word, with others in the way that they can come and help us to build houses.
Well, when this podcast is published, you gotta send it to all those people so that they can share it with their friends and people who are considering. I didn't realize. Okay, so you were saying a lot of people were coming to learn Spanish. Um, are there a lot of immersion programs in Antigua where you could come down and build the house and either before or after do a couple of days of full immersion Spanish?
Yes, they are. There
Oh,
are
really?
so
I didn't know
many.
that.
There are many Spanish schools, and people still coming to Antigua to learn. But everything seems a little bit now because remember that after the pandemic, many people started to use video calls, and sometimes it's easy for the teachers now, connecting with the people with video.
So I speak very poor Spanish. Um, but when I was just walking around Antigua and I was lost or I was just trying to talk to someone in a shop, I found everyone was super duper, like, really patient with speaking Spanish with me, unlike other places where it's so fast and I can't get it. And like the, I don't know, the accent just seemed like a very easy place to fumble through and safe to practice my Spanish. Is that unique to Antigua or Guatemala, or do you, like, am I just being crazy thinking that?
No, I think you are right. And one of the reasons is because, in the same way we want to learn English, we want the people speaking slow with us in the way that we can understand, each other. But we really like to help the people, to understand Spanish.
Mm,
And when that happens, we are trying to speak slow in the way that people can understand what they have learned through the years.
mm. Yeah, we're gonna talk over the holidays because I think we want to do it again this summer. So we'll be in touch there. Um, I just to everyone, like, it was just such a great experience. I felt so accomplished. I was also super surprised that Vivian and Alexa went 2 summers ago and that they wanted to go back. Because after that week, like, on Monday to Friday, you build a house, it's a lot of heavy lift. I was exhausted. Theo had he developed pneumonia, he was coughing a lot, he wasn't feeling well, he had pneumonia, um, but he still worked and, like, felt so accomplished. I was actually surprised that, Alexa and Vivian wanted to go back and do it because it was really intense, but I just felt, and we all as a family felt such, like, a tremendous sense of accomplishment, and just impact at such a basic level. It was amazing. Um, I have a question about Joe. If if Joe were to magically appear today, back, like, he were to come down and say, "Oscar, this is this is fantastic." What would he be most proud of, um, if he were to come down today?
That was still 19 years later, doing all of this and keep doing the same work with the passion we like to have for doing all of this.
Mm. And if in that same conversation, what would Joe say that you could be improving on?
Well, trying to promote the organization a little more in the way that we can get more funds, because that is what we are looking for to do. Social media, it seems like it's expanding in different ways, and we have to make sure that we can have all of that with us. And it's difficult, especially because sometimes we are in some social media, and suddenly there are some new ones. So it's difficult to, make sure that our people can see about what we like to do in Guatemala.
Mm. I was also thinking it would be fun for Theo, like, to get some of his football team to come down over the summer and just lift all those bags of concrete and get everything set up. I think it would be a good preseason exercise for them. That would be really fun. So aside from just, individuals coming down, small groups, families, what other types of, groups of people come down? Do teams come down? What are the types of groups that come down and get involved with Houses to Homes?
Well, in most of the cases, churches, schools, and small groups from different communities, churches that they are the ones telling the experience they are having here, like Alexa, your wife. Believe me when I say this: when we have people here, we feel really happy having everybody down here with us. But sometimes we are not totally sure if they really we want to come back. We have no idea about that in most of the cases. Sometimes people they say, "Well, we really like the experience and we would like to come back." Some people can make that. Some others they cannot do that. But when we heard that all of you were going to come as a family, two families, we were like, "Wow, that's really great." But the good thing about all of this is that you really liked the experience, being with us and helping us with our mission. And that is the most important thing for us, making sure that the people can really love what we are doing here. And the way that they can say, well, this worth it very much, and we are going to invite others. You
Mm,
know, before the pandemic, I want to let you know that we were having an average of 400 and 450 volunteers
wow.
every year. Through the years, we were having. The pandemic made that change, but this year we improved the number of volunteers again. Just this year, we ended the year with 345 volunteers. We are getting better every year now again. So that is something that is making us very motivated, because I hope next year we can have more
Mm.
volunteers.
One of the things that struck me as far as just arriving to the job site and just the team that we were there to help, it was so well organized. And I know it just seems like, hey, we just show up and everything's there, but it must be so difficult to buy the material, get the material there, get it organized into a workflow so that, like, we can be as efficient as possible. Um, how long did it take to develop that system that you have? And also, it must be very difficult to get the right people to work on the job sites with all of us, um, kind of inexperienced masons. Although now I have a little bit of experience. I'm good with a trowel.
In the first years, I want to let you know that I was involved in the construction of the houses too.
Mhm.
I was helping to build. Um, so I was doing that for about 4 or 5 years.
Mm,
And after that, I couldn't continue because it was very difficult for me, working with different things. But at the beginning, we were helping the families to get the materials to their sites. And it was very difficult for us because the very beginning, we were using 7 days of work. After 3 or 4 years, we decided to reduce the number of days to six. And since 2009 or something like that, or 2010, we decided to build the houses only in 5 days. And one of the reasons is because we wanted to make sure that the people could come on the weekend and going back on the weekend to their homes. And regarding the materials, it was hard for us, but we were enjoying that. But when we reduced the number of days to work to find, we didn't have enough time to do that. So we started with the plan to tell the people that we were going to help them, and that they were going to get the materials on their own. Sometimes people are very lucky because they are right next to the streets where they live, and it's easy, for the construction materials to send everything to them. But some other times, people are getting, difficulty to get all the materials,
Mm,
and it takes 2 or 3 days for them to put everything inside. With the idea for us about all of this is that we want to make sure that the people, they can feel that this is going to be for them, and it's something like if they bought everything, and we want to tell them that when we are coming on Monday, we want to have everything there,
mm,
and usually we are sending the materials a week before uh, to start, and when we are arriving, we have to make sure not just only have the materials, we have to have the empty land where we are going to build, and we need to have enough water to build
mm.
and everything. Um, sometimes you were saying when you came to Guatemala that the dredge it was made,
Yeah.
but the only reason we did that, we are not doing that with every volunteer, with every
Oh, so we were lucky.
we you were looking, and one of the reasons it's because in that little community, digging is really really hard,
Yeah.
very very hard, and it's very rocky, and we decided to start a few days before with some of the extra guys. So that was the reason. But and we were trying to avoid that we could be a long day in the first day, doing all
Mm.
of this. And that is happening to our construction guys once in a while.
I have another question. So, well, from my experience, it was all so or well organized and we could get there and then we could do the work. Um, Another thing that I thought was funny, and I'd love your um, perspective. Whenever anyone starts doing a new process, so if you take our family that went down there, or in any business, you want to do a new accounts receivable process or create a new project management flow. When you take the new process and you have people implement it, I say that there's like it's storming, like people storm, they argue, then they start to form the habit, and then it becomes the norm. So when you're watching a family start working, because it's just like, hey, go, the storming part must be really funny to see because everyone starts arguing with each other and no, you do that, you do that, you do that as a family. And then you just everyone kind of forms the habit and then you just go through. What's your experience watching these people come down like us who've never built well, my daughter and wife had built it before, but who've never maybe built a house before?
Well, for for me, it's something normal after so many years, no doubt about that. Because, and just to let you know that most of the people coming with us don't have experience building, anything like that. So it's normal for us to see that some people are, demanding like, oh, what can I start to do now, But we are telling them, hey, we are going to let you know what you can start helping us, and because I did this for many years, including the previous organization where I was working for. I was trying to make sure to teach our construction guys about all of that. Having patience with the people, and letting them know that for many of them, for the first time, building something like this, So through the years, it's easy for us to see in all of this, and also making sure that the construction guys we have for that purpose, they can understand and they can lead uh, the work with all the people. It's difficult sometimes when we have so many people, but it's easy, For it requires some minutes, to start letting some people. Okay, can you help us with this thing? You can help
Yeah.
us with that, and it's not difficult for us. After so many years, it's easy.
I was actually very nervous to be on the same work crew as my daughter Vivian because I thought because she had the experience before, she would be very bossy and mean to me, but she actually wasn't. She was really nice and supportive, and she had a great experience, and it was really cool to learn from her as well. Um, I just for anyone listening, if you're looking for a project to do as an individual or with some friends or as a family, like we just had an incredible experience, and, the Dotsons who were with as well, they just had an incredible experience. I think they wanna go back again too, but it's something that I would definitely wanna go back and do, and I think we're gonna try and plan that over the Christmas holidays, but, um Oscar, I just wanna say thank you so much. I've wanted to do this for so long since the experience, just because I could help get the word out and maybe more people would be interested, especially in the design and construction world of hospitality. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming here. If people wanted to learn more about From Houses to Home or how to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that? And we can put all the notes in the on the website in the show notes and in there.
Well, our organization is based in in New Jersey, and we have a website where people can access and get the information needed. And there is a cell phone number there, and the project director in US for us is Judy Baker, and she is the one, letting the people know what to do, to organize everything to come down to Guatemala. And usually we are trying to schedule the 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 weeks, with the volunteers, and we are trying to make sure to have an average of 5 houses per week if possible. Um, Six maybe we can build 6 houses, but it's very important for the people who are interested in coming with us to talk to Judy Baker about where when is the best week to come down.
Awesome. Really, Oscar, thank you so much for doing this. It's been wonderful. We had a great experience, and I can't wait to get this out there so that everyone else can learn from it, and hopefully, maybe they'll fly down and do it. So it was a great experience for us and our family. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, we are the ones that we are very thankful with people like you and many many others that are decided to come to help us. Without all of you, couldn't be possible what we like to do for sure. And when everybody is coming here, I am more than excited to know that you are here in Guatemala because they can then we can make sure that we can show everybody what we like to do. And it is my desire that we can continue doing this for many many other years because it if it's because our governments, I don't think it's going to be possible to change. Um, what we like to do it's because unfortunately, the governments we have had through the years, they are not interested in improving the living conditions of the population and in many other ways too, education and healthcare. And I'm glad that we as organization exist to help a small portion of the people in Guatemala. So I have been feeling very proud and happy with everything we have been doing in 19 years. Next year, we are planning to celebrate 20 years of work.
Wow.
And very excited to know about that.
Oh, one other question I forgot to ask or confirm, really. Just for anyone who might be concerned about this, you're not religiously affiliated in any way, shape, or form. It's just you are your own organization um, without a religious affiliation. But you do have a lot of church groups and other organizations come down as well.
You are right. And one of the reasons is because we really want to help anybody is in need. It doesn't matter the religion they are. And for the people coming to help us also, we don't want to be, selecting the ones who wants to come to help us.
Yeah.
We have had the different group of different religions coming to help us. And the most important thing, the main purpose, helping the people.
Yeah.
So uh, You are right when you say that.
So thank you very much. Thank you to our listeners. And if anyone has any questions, just reach out to me as well. I'd love to share my experience further. But we'll put all of the from houses to home information, and we'll put Judy's info in there, and the Instagram, just so you guys can all check it out. And please pass this along if you know anyone else who's thinking about going on a service trip or wanting to make an impact and go to a beautiful, incredible, wonderful city like Antigua. It's really such a gem of a city. Pass it along. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Oscar, and we'll check you next time.